Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is going to be a solo hot tent overnighter in some fresh powder snow. So what you're looking at right now is 6 inches of fresh snowfall from last night. Today it is going to be forecasted down to -7 degrees Celsius, so it's not terribly cold. All of this stuff should stay nice and frozen, nice and cold, so it shouldn't be too much of a wet day. But if you guys have been following the channel, you will have seen my last hot tent video where I had to dig down about 1 foot to 1.5 feet in the snow. That is still underneath all of this powder. So we have about 1 foot to 1.5 feet of snow, a good 4 inches of ice, and then all this powder on top, making this extremely slippery and very hard. So I do have the tent set up. I use sticks and anchors in the ice. Got that all squared away. I'm gonna get my backpack, all my other sleeping gear and everything back over to the tent, get everything inside, and then it's gonna be time to set up the wood stove. So let's get all this over to the tent. Alright guys, I've got the tent, the stove, and the sleeping stuff all ready to go for this evening. I do have one guy line attached to the pipe as well because the wind is starting to come through here. I've attached it right to the tent so that way I can adjust it if I need to anytime during the day or the evening. It is now time to collect firewood though because I did not bring any water, so I have to rely on collecting snow, get it in the kettle, and get it on top of the wood stove. I also need to get some wood underneath of the wood stove because, as I mentioned, I am on top of ice and then deeper snow underneath of that. If I don't put a heat shield underneath the wood stove, it's going to sink down overnight, and that is extremely dangerous. So, got to get the saw and get to work collecting wood, guys. All right, everybody, it is coffee break time, and I gotta say, definitely earned. So it is nice and cold and crisp out today. The sun is about to set in probably about 2 hours time, so the temperature is getting quite chilly, and a hot cup of coffee next to a wood stove is always a great way to enjoy the winter time. So I'm going to continue on drinking my coffee, and I think I am going to move inside and sit in the doorway, get a little bit of heat from the wood stove, finish up this cup, and then it's going to be time to collect a little bit more firewood and then start on supper as the sun is starting to set in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So cheers, guys. Going inside for coffee. Okay, everybody, coffee break is all finished up. The sun is starting to dip below the trees, and I do have to get some more firewood prepped up so I have enough for later on this evening and enough to cook my supper on top of the wood stove. So this is a never-ending process when you come out hot tent camping. You can either do all your firewood all at once and just go through the forest and collect everything, or you can pick away at it. Often when I'm in environments such as this where there's just branches all over the place, I'll pick at it as I go through the day. That way I don't have to waste an hour or two, go off and collect wood and do nothing but collect wood. It's nice to just break it up into segments. That way you can at least sit down and enjoy some of the forest. So I'm going to process this up, and I believe this is going to be enough for the rest of the night and even in the morning. As you guys know, I don't bother burning my wood stove when I sleep, because I bring a winter rated sleeping bag and a winter rated sleeping pad, and I can't be bothered to stay up all night loading a wood stove. So I'll be totally warm without the stove burning, but while I'm awake, it is nice to have it going just to dry some clothes out, make some water, and cook food. So I'm gonna process this down and then start on supper. Alright guys, supper is all finished up, and I'm just in the process of cleaning up the outside of the tent just to make sure I get all my gear inside, just in case it does snow or the weather changes. I like having everything organized before nightfall, that way I don't have to go looking for things. So supper was really good. Big fat steak, mushrooms, onions, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Pretty basic, pretty simple, cooked over the wood stove. 2 thumbs up, I'm definitely happy with that. The sun is just about to dip below the tree line, so we are now in last little bit of light. So I'm going to kind of frantically go around, gather up some birch bark for in the morning so I can light the wood stove. Firewood is basically all collected for this trip. I have 2 piles neatly stacked inside of the tent, one for more bigger pieces and one for smaller pieces. And of course I'll leave some for in the morning to cook up hot water to make coffee and breakfast. But I want to get all this stuff squared away, get my lights all rigged up so I have some lights inside when it does come nightfall, and that way I'll stay ahead of the game. Alright, so I've got the inside of the tent totally configured. I got my battery bank and my USB light bulb hanging up top. The wood stove is throwing some serious heat, guys. I get asked often, why light the stove and leave the door wide open? Outside, it is negative 9 degrees Celsius right now. Inside, it is plus 15 degrees Celsius at head height with this door wide open. So I always get asked, why bother leaving the door open? The truth is, I don't bring the wood stove just to stay warm. I bring it for cooking, drying out my boots, lounging inside without wearing a big old jacket. So there's many uses to having a wood stove, but certainly leaving the door open during the daytime is valuable for going in and out and mediating the temperature while you got your jacket on and pants and all that stuff. So it is very warm in there. That is the reason why I leave the door open. Another question that I want to answer is, what do I bring for flashlights? So on my trips, I only bring 2 flashlights that I keep on my person. I do have another light inside of the tent, which is a USB light bulb that I like using to light up the inside of the tent. But as far as my person, what do I have on me all the time? I have my Cyansky headlamp and I have my Olight flashlight. These are the only 2 lights that I bring, and the reason why I choose these 2 lights is they do everything that I need them to do in terms of specs and color and all that stuff. But I also use them for filming, so I don't bring any film lights with me. I use these. The Olight has a magnet on the bottom of it, so I can actually stick my knife in a dead tree and slap that right to the side of the knife, and then I can angle it wherever I need to. So 2 lights that I bring with me. Now, here's something else that I want to mention. If you want to find out more about gear, I have actually created another YouTube channel called Camping Gear Reviews. The link is down below in the description. That channel is going to be dedicated only to gear reviews and gear demonstrations. So I want to share this with you guys that are really into the gear side of things. Lone Wolf 902 is and has been designed to be more about the adventure, and that's what I want to gear this channel more towards going forward, is about the experience outdoors and sharing the adventure. If you guys are interested in gear, like I said, jump on over my other channel. The link is in the description, and help build that channel and help support. Also, It is a channel with a twist, so I highly recommend you watch the very first episode, and you'll find out why this gear review channel is going to be different from many others. So, with that said, those are my 2 lights. I hope that answers all the questions that I've been getting lately about flashlights. Now, I'm going to collect a little bit more firewood, not with the saw, but I'm actually just going to break off a few branches and twigs around the area, get a little bit of birch bark, get it stowed inside of the tent, and welcome nightfall as it sets in. Alright guys, coming inside of the tent. It is cold out there and it is getting dark rather quickly. Try and get this light up out of my face a little bit. Alright, so I just checked the temperature outside. It's holding at -9 Celsius. And inside, it is +20 with the door shut. +20 degrees Celsius with the door shut. Now I did shovel some snow around the sleeping compartment, down around the back and the sides to create a little bit of a snow skirt. I left the front wide open. I'm not terribly worried about it. I'm going to be plenty warm in my sleeping bag later on tonight anyway, so just enough to cut some of the breeze. As you guys can see, the tent is flapping around a little bit, so that breeze will stop from blowing into the sleeping compartment. That way I don't have to be bundled up in my jacket, which I'm very excited to get out of right now. I also have to get my gaiters off, so I do have a pair of gaiters on today, and I did not bring snow pants. So I didn't want to bring snow pants today. I just didn't feel like I needed it, and not bringing those, it was very important for me to keep these pants dry. So they are bone dry, which is awesome. So my pants are nice and dry, gaiters are wet. Get these off. Oh, that Velcro is really strong there. So what I'm going to do is basically hang these up on the tent a little later on some of this little suspension things up here, so they will be nice and dry. And as you guys can probably notice, I brought my backpack in here tonight. So lately I've been leaving my backpack outside. I haven't been totally worried about it, and the reason why I leave it outside is just there's not enough room to work a camera and a tripod with a backpack in here, but where this vestibule is large enough, I can actually put the backpack inside and still work the camera out in this area, and that's honestly the main reason. So it is inside right now, which will help later on for, you know, kind of keep it as a buffer so I don't roll off that way. And I actually could prop my phone up here later on when I do decide to watch a movie, so that'll be nice. So I am going to get ready to basically get comfortable. I got to get these boots off, get changed into some warmer clothes, some sleep pants, make sure these stay dry. These pants are my pillow, by the way, and my hoodie is my pillow. I never sleep in my hoodie. I'm just going to use my my long sleeve shirt and basically get down into my base layer pants. Get my slippers on, because I did bring my slippers, so I'm going to get these on my feet and get all this stuff down there. Boots will be nice and dry and warm in the morning this way, and everything will hopefully go to plan. So I'm going to get changed into some clothes here, get some of this stuff off, get straightened out, and then I'll give you guys an inside look at what I can see, and we'll take it from there. All right, so just loaded the wood stove up with a couple more pieces of wood. And it is rocking out the heat, guys. No joke, it is warm in here. So I think I'm gonna hold off on the base layer pants for now, just in case I need to run out for a bathroom break. It's gonna be much warmer wearing these than it will be base layers. So give you guys a look at the inside of the tent. There is a lot of room inside of here, I will say, and I'm always surprised whenever I bring this tent out. I haven't brought it out a whole lot this winter, but whenever I do, I'm always surprised with how much vestibule room there is here. It's just a palace in here, especially for one person and gear. So this is basically going to be me for the rest of the night, guys. I am eventually going to get changed and get my slippers on and all that stuff, but like I said, I think I'm going to hold off for a little bit. Just in case I need to go outside. So I definitely have enough wood. Looking at the wood supply here, I've got a lot of firewood, and I think I'm going to have a very, very enjoyable night. I may even have to crack that zipper on the door because it is very, very hot. Me sitting up, it is almost getting too hot, honestly. It's going to be a warm evening. So I'm going to say goodnight to you guys, and basically I'm just going to lounge inside of here. I'm going to jump into a movie anytime, probably within the next 20 minutes, and go off to sleep and listen to the wind blowing the trees all around, and I'll catch up with you guys in the morning for coffee. Good night, guys. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful morning out here. Very, very windy, crisp and cool, but the temperature has changed. So it was forecasted to be quite cold this morning. It's actually only -2 degrees Celsius. So that is not very cold at all. Sitting inside of the tent is the spot to be this morning, out of the wind and right in front of the hot fire. So it is toasty, toasty warm in here. The tent fabric is just nice and warm all the way around. The sleeping compartment last night was a dream. I did zip this partial door shut and it just glowed with that campfire glow inside of here. Just orange, just flickering flames all along the walls. It was a pretty awesome experience, guys. So I've got my hot cup of coffee on the go right now. I've got a little bit left in my pot that I'm going to pour in here and just have a nice, calm, relaxed morning right here, staring at the wood stove, listening to the wind whistling through the trees, and enjoying some hot coffee. So cheers, guys, and good morning. All right, so it is really windy outside right now. The tent is just blowing all over the place in between wind gusts. So I decided to shut the door. I can open up the top zip and kind of peek out if I need to, but the wind is totally coming in from that side of the tent. So it's nice to have the door shut to keep that cool, brisk air off of my face and just blowing in all over the place. So I already had breakfast early this morning, very early. I woke up, lit the stove, got some hot water on there. I did 2 packs of oatmeal. Pretty simple, real quick and fast breakfast. And here comes some of that wind. I should mention that I'm camping up on top of a ridge, so there's a valley behind me, so all the air comes through and whips right up the ridge, and that's what's happening on the side as well, as it's blowing right into the tent. Now it gives me a great vantage point to see out across the forest, which is why I chose this location, as well as all the firewood. So there are loads of softwood trees around here with all kinds of dead branches. Now I did run into a problem last night, which is very, very common when burning softwood, and that is spark arrestor clog up. So late last night I went out for a bathroom break and I happened to look up at the spark arrestor and I could see it was really clogged up, and I just didn't have any patience to clean it out and deal with all that stuff. So I just came inside, I grabbed 2 pieces of firewood and I flicked the spark arrestor right off the tent and I set it down outside by the door. Luckily, knock on wood, burning all of this softwood, there are no burn holes anywheres on the tent. I don't know how, but there are no burn holes, and this is something that's very typical. If you're going to be using a lightweight tent with no spark arrestor, burning softwood, you're pretty much guaranteed to burn your tent, and I'm very, very, very shocked that there are no burn holes. Now, the little tiny burn holes don't bother me. I can go home and patch those up with some silicone and some patch material, no problem. That's just part of the game when you're out hot tenting, but like I said, I'm very surprised. Looking all over the tent, there are no burn holes. So thumbs up on that, and like I said, the spark arrestor clogged up. I didn't feel like cleaning it, and yeah, I just left it out there. So all softwood on this trip, pine and spruce, very resinous wood. Burns hot, burns fast, but it burns dirty, which is the only problem. So I'm gonna finish up my coffee. Sheltered in here from all that wind outside. And as soon as I'm finished, I'm gonna get some of the stuff out of the tent and start the pack up process. All right, everybody, I've got everything crammed into the backpack in a giant mess. I'm gonna have to deal with that when I get home, but I'm trying to stay ahead of the rain. It is holding off for now, but I do have to travel deeper into the forest, so if it does start raining, I won't be worried about it. I'll be sheltered by the trees. Now, one thing I will mention, here in Nova Scotia, we're surrounded by ocean, and I know I mentioned this in many videos. I could come out here in the freezing cold, And then the ocean does mysterious things. It can bring in really frigid cold air, or it can bring in a warm front. And it looks like today we're getting a warm front coming off the ocean. So I'm only about 1.5 kilometers away from the ocean, not very far. All that warm air is going to push in through here, and this stuff is going to start turning into ice again. So you guys seen when I was digging out the snow to put on those coals, I had to really break through that ice layer. If it does rain, all of this snow is going to be gone, and it's going to be even thicker ice, making further episodes on the channel a little bit more difficult to set up tents. So might have to start hanging some hammocks and enjoying some hammock camping. But enough of that. This trip is concluded. I thank you guys very much for joining me. I do have to get boogieing down the trail though, get this on my back, get that camera packed away, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Be sure to check out my gear review channel, link down in the description if you're interested. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.